All right, so make we talk about something that I think will have some massive impact on Jamaica. And I'm shocked that not a lot of people are even paying attention to it or maybe even talking about it. And just one little town on the western end of the island is about to change the entire game. And not just for Negril, not just for Hanover, Westmoreland, St. Elizabeth, and if you want to stretch it, maybe Manchester and Clarendon. And what I am talking about is the brand new international airport that is planned for Little London right outside of Negril. And when I read the article, this project was tagged to be around 460 million US dollars when it is finished. Now, it could reshape how people travel, how businesses grow, and even how the south coast develops. So we could sit down and we could go through why this is happening and what it means, and of course some of the challenges that may come with it. Welcome to What's the Cost podcast. So for me personally, Negril has always been one of those special places. You know, we know it for the 7 Mile beaches, we know it for the sunsets, and it just have a vibe. Because it's one of the last parts of Jamaica that it just kind of keeps its laid back, barefoot charm, even while tourism just exploded everywhere else. But the problem, it's hard to get to. Right now, if you're flying into Jamaica, chances are you're landing to Montego Bay or you land in Kingston International Airport. And then it's like what? 2 hours, maybe even 3 hours of winding roads just to get to the gem of Negril. So for families, for older travelers, and even for high-end tourists that drive, it kind of daunting for even me living in Old Harbour and used to live in St. Elizabeth to get to Negril. It's a stretch. And that's why I think that for many years, Negril has never reached its full potential when you compare it to like Montego Bay or even Ocho Rios. Let me give it the proper name if tourists are watching. So now I think this is where the fix comes into play, because the government, they announced that Negril is getting its own proper international airport. The article that has Daryl Vaz saying that. So not just a little aerodrome that they have. That place is basically just a strip for small planes similar to like Verna Martinson Pen. This would be like a full international hub, able to handle the Boeing 737s or the Airbuses, similar to Montego Bay. And the location, not a lot of people know it, it's Little London, Westmoreland. So that's around 15 to 20 minutes from Negril's main strips or the hotel strips. So imagine landing and you're clearing customs and in a quick time, being at your resort in less than half an hour. That's a game changer for people who are in that area of Westmoreland and Negril to be specific. But the thing is that 460 million US dollars, I want to be kick that. Because this is not just government money either. It's going to be done by like public-private partnerships. That's what the article said. And that means that investors are putting real money on the table, because them see the major upside. So not just government alone that do it. People with their money, big money, I think most of that the hoteliers and the rich of Jamaica who benefit from tourism are putting their money where their mouth there. So it begs the question, why now though? I think that the timing is important because Sangster International Airport that is in Montego Bay, it's a bus. It can't handle the traffic. It's reported to handle around 5 million passengers a year, and most of them come in the midday rush, and that just causes like a bottleneck and frustration at that airport. And tourism in Jamaica is growing fast. It's one of our biggest sectors, and we need the infrastructure. So expansion work is already happening at Sangster, but it's not enough. So Negril now, with its outdated aerodrome, has basically been sitting on the sidelines, wait for the opportunity. So this new airport is much about relieving pressure as it is about unlocking the potential for more tourists to visit here in Jamaica and boost that part of the economy, boost that sector. But the obvious that we have to state is that Negril are going to win from this. Easier access means more tourists, happier tourists, and tourists who will come back because they have memories of getting married in Jamaica, sipping margaritas on the beachside, and maybe some of the white lady them meet a anonymous Rastaman. And if you have recurring guests and people planning their trips to come back because they had an intimate moment here in Negril, which I think encapsulates what tourism really is in Jamaica, or encapsulates what Jamaica really is, then of course resorts are going to make a lot of money. And I think one of the biggest benefactors from this is going to be Hanover, because when last year I remember Hanover, they have gorgeous coastlines and hills, but people don't really see it, and we don't really see large-scale resort developments like Montego Bay or in Ochi down that side. So if we get an airport so close, Hanover could suddenly become attractive for ecotourism, boutique villas, and just real estate investors overall. Land values are going to jump. Small communities might even feel it because of Airbnb and hotels maybe can't hold all of the volumes of people. So people who buy homes down there will maybe benefit from this. Now, we're going to talk about Westmoreland. And this is where the airport will actually sit, because people don't realize that Negril is in Westmoreland for some reason. Yes, Negril is in Westmoreland. And during construction, we're going to look upon thousands of jobs maybe. Who will get those jobs? Not sure. But we have engineers, we have architects, we have masons, we have electricians, and even food vendors who will sell to these construction crews. They will benefit also. And once the airport is operational, we are thinking about permanent working staff. So we are thinking about customs officers, airport staff, security, maintenance, retail shops, transportation, you name it. And beyond just certain jobs, we have small businesses that will benefit: the jerk stands, the craft vendors, the guest house, the taxi drivers. All of them are going to get a direct boom from the increased traffic. Because these things are just authentically Jamaican. And for people like me who love land as a means of real estate, the property values in Little London and the surrounding areas will almost certainly appreciate. So for some locals, that's the opportunity. For others, it could bring challenges like higher rents and pressure to sell the farmland and maybe take the farmland and turn it into development land, commercial land, residential lots. So it's a double-edged sword. Where there is progress, there is regression for some people. So I remember when I was trying to set up a shop in Treasure Beach, St. Elizabeth, and I was speaking to one of the big shots down there. He owns one of the boutique hotels down there. And he was saying that Treasure Beach is going to get a spike very soon because of the real estate boom down there. And also, he told me about this airport long before news even released about it. So he's saying just by virtue of having that airport, and then with the toll being expanded to pass through St. Elizabeth is going to get a lot of this tourism money, or this in-rush for tourism. So that's why I said that one of the most interesting story is what happens further along the South Coast, especially in my parish, what I call the breadbasket, or that everybody calls the breadbasket, St. Elizabeth. Because I think that this parish is Jamaica's hidden gem. So we get Treasure Beach, we have Lover's Leap, we have the Appleton Rum Estate, and of course, as I say, our breadbasket, farmlands everywhere. Oh, we can't forget, better than Duns River, Wyers Falls. We have that down there too. So with the Negril Airport, I won't say that it will cut journey time, but it will allow people to see more of certain parishes like St. Elizabeth. They might even say, yo, instead of Negril, let's go to Treasure Beach because they have awesome sunsets too. So that opens the door for the same boutique hotels, then the Airbnb investment. Ecotourism is going to be big in Jamaica, like big in St. Elizabeth, like areas like Magati. Farmers can gain from this too, because if we have modern airports, then we might have modern cargo facilities to export certain goods. So maybe we can even have a Eat St. Elizabeth campaign and give them with pepper, with mango, and yam, and melon coming straight from the breadbasket to Negril. So that opens up the market for our rural farmers and just developing the rural sector right there. But one of the major hurdles that I've seen in the article and I've read on the multiple articles is that land acquisition is already an issue for whoever's building this airport, because people live in Little London, right? So them have farms there, them have schools, and some of the residents already are balling and say, yo, we want big payout. I don't wrong them. If you don't want the land, buy it from me for your big money, because it's clearly valuable now. But that kind of slows down the whole process. And then we also have environmental concerns, because as I have here in my notes, Negril is close to the Great Morass, and that's a sensitive wetland. So the site was chosen to avoid major interference, but you can't put in a massive airport without some environmental costs. Like, people have to think about that also. And then there's the whole bureaucracy, or the bureaucracy, whatever you want to call it. Bureaucracy, I can't call the word properly. We know how the Caribbean projects go. We have permits, we have delays, we have politics, and things are just drag. And the government says that around late 2026 or 2027 for completion. But in all honesty, if I'm going to be realistic, I'm going to look on 2028 to 2030. 2030. Let me say 2030. But 2028 to around 2030, I think. But if you can just put on imagination goggles and it happens in 2027, and you land in Negril, you clear immigration, and within half an hour, you're up on the 7 Mile Beach, a sip a Bob Marley margarita, or an hour, or an hour and a half, maybe 2 hours, you're in a Treasure Beach, a sip a rum punch. You see, that convenience changes how Jamaica is branded, and it's no longer just Montego Bay and Ochi as the faces of tourism, but instead we'll have 4 anchors. We'll have Kingston in the east, Montego Bay in the north, Negril in the west, and in the south we can finally start stepping into the spotlight of St. Elizabeth. I even see Floyd Green pushing Black River. We're having a lot of events in Black River, so Black River is something to look out for. Again, we just feel that the airport will create a lot of jobs, thousands of jobs, and it's going to decentralize tourism and the tourism wealth and give some of the rural parishes a real shot at development. And if I think that if it is done carefully and with respect for the environment, I think that the communities will benefit. They won't be affected negatively as such, but more positive. But I think that if we can pull this off, if Jamaica can pull this off, Negril won't just be a hard to reach paradise that if we make up our mind to go to, it can be the gateway to the island's west and east coast, or west and south coast. Think about the fact that even JUTC just announced that they're going to open routes from Kingston all the way to Montego Bay and Negril. Big game changer right there. That should show you they're serious about it. Now the big questions, us Jamaicans watching this. Do you think that it will actually be done on time, or will it drag out just like many other projects? And more importantly, should the South Coast and the West Coast embrace big tourism, or just keep it slow and an authentic vibe? We could talk about it in the comment section down below. And until next time, this has been the What's the Cost podcast. And thank you for watching.